Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today's Rob Liefeld Day. Once again, I know I told you guys I was pretty much done with the Hawk and Dove stuff that we reviewed in the past few weeks. But in the past few weeks, I've been able to pick up a few kind of dollar bin purchases featuring Rob Liefeld comics and Youngblood more specifically. So I'll be reviewing those as long as I have some left. And then once we're done with all the Rob Liefeld stuff, we'll move on to something else. So this was touted back in the day as Rob Liefeld's return to Image after kind of a hiatus after Youngblood number 4. 5 or Strike File is probably where he stopped after that for a little bit of a break. And it was touted as, you know, him coming back with a new kind of edgier style and all that. I would say his new style per se is really just a continuation of his old style. So it's not that different from the stuff we were seeing at the end of the Youngblood run and within Youngblood Strike File. I don't see much of a difference here. What is new is a lot of the costumes are different. It's a Rob Liefeld trope that the costumes keep changing and evolving from issue to issue. So some characters look familiar, some not so much. Vogue is completely redesigned apart from her facial features. Die Hard pretty much the same, just a bit more accoutrements. Shaft kind of the same as well, but extra bits added on. I've talked a lot about how Rob Liefeld will integrate stuff that he discovers along the way pretty darn quickly, probably within the pages that day of what he's working on. So I've talked before about the Dale Keown kind of veins that he's doing, right, that he's got here. I'll point out this little segmented hand here. I know it seems like a small detail, but I'm pretty sure he got that from Jim Lee. There's some Jim Lee characters where he was drawing this kind of segmented hand glove thing. You'll see more of it on the inside. I'll try to point it out if I remember. And at some point I'm going to be doing, like I said, that whole kind of Rob Liefeld review where I'm going to go through his career and through each period kind of point out where I think these influences are coming from, sometimes a little more generally and sometimes very specifically. I've mentioned some of these in my reviews, but when I do officially do that, I guess, Rob Liefeld analysis, I'll be getting into specific, very specific details about that stuff. But anyways, pretty cool gatefold cover. I think the coloring kind of clashes here in the sense that you've got these bright, shiny guys over on this side, and these characters are colored a lot darker. These seem to blend into the murky, dark background more so than these guys. So I feel like if the colors had been a little more saturated on these guys, they'd pop out a bit more as well. Interesting little things like these reflections. Again, I don't remember Rob Liefeld doing this before. I feel like he got this maybe from similar artists in Extreme. I feel like Jeff Matsuda would do this kind of stuff here, and I feel like that's where he's getting that as well. Again, when I do that Rob Liefeld analysis, I'll be going more in detail on all those little things. What I will say about the series, you know, it's been touted a lot about the new art style and this and that. What I will say is there's an earnest effort in this comic to develop the characters more, the characterizations, the storyline, the whole Youngblood concept. If this had been issue 1, I think it would have made a lot more sense as compared to what we got early on in Image. And this is kind of almost Rob Liefeld, not, I guess, a soft reboot maybe of the Youngblood concept, and really working in the themes and things that he talked about during interviews beforehand, but that we wouldn't actually find in the Youngblood comic. So this one, I think, is a little more complete as far as the Youngblood concept. It talks more about the celebrity aspect of Youngblood. There's some weird stuff with Youngblood I've never understood, because they are celebrities, but they also go on kind of Black Ops missions, and then you've got Bloodstrike, who are a Black Ops unit. So, you know, are Youngblood above board, below board, CIA, whatever? I have no idea. It seems like the away team seems to be taken, up to this point at least, taking more part in those kind of PSYOP operations, undercover operations, and the home team is almost more kind of the celebrity aspect, I guess, and what we're seeing above board in the media and stuff. We'll be introduced some new characters as well, like this guy with the mask here, basically ripped off from The Thing, right? Early on, Jack Kirby had him in this mask, and later on, when The Thing was slashed by Wolverine in the face, he started wearing this mask as well. So, Troll, you'll see, again, pretty much a combination, to me, I've always thought of Wolverine and Puck from Alpha Flight, basically. Pretty cool gatefold cover, though, and a good way to start off the issue. Let's have a look inside. So we'll be introduced to a lot of characters that are very familiar in that they're basically just carbon copies or analogs of other characters. Clearly, this guy here is Cable, whatever other name you get him here, Colonel Bravo. We're not duped, obviously, and this is clearly Cable. He's got the cybernetic arm, instead of being silver, it's gold. Ooh, quite different, right? So, whereas Cable's accoutrements are usually kind of more silvery and metallic, Colonel Bravo's are like gold and oranges and stuff like that. But other than that, it's pretty much, he's even got the you know, the glowing star eye. So I mean, come on, no one's being duped here. Pretty cool shot. I like the boldness of these purple clouds in the background, the coloring. I think that's interesting. Pretty sure that's all coloring, just like Steve Oliff does over in Spawn. This was not drawn, I don't think, by Rob Liefeld, but literally just the colorist did that. 90s colors excess. You know, the motorcycle looks good here. Don't think Rob Liefeld drew that either. Probably got some help. I feel like the Rob Liefeld part stops right about the hand. This hand looks uncharacteristically not Liefeld-esque in my opinion. Maybe the underdrawing, right? The thumbnail or whatever was Liefeld, but whoever inked this is the same person who inked this motorcycle here, and I don't think it's Danny Meeke. I could be wrong, but I definitely feel like this is someone else's work down here. This is probably a Rob Liefeld motorcycle. This is probably someone else who has more kind of visual technical knowledge of motorcycles and how to draw them. And definitely taken from some sort of manga comic of the day. Can't tell you which one exactly, but that's what I feel. So we start off with an action sequence, which is a Rob Liefeld trope, and I'm okay with that. And Colonel Bravo is being pursued, and basically we'll never even see who his pursuers are, just a guy in the background on a motorcycle. Cool looking helmet, though. It's just something interesting about that. I don't know. Listen, Rob Liefeld is hit or miss. Some of his designs are really cool, honestly, and some of them not so much. So every once in a while I see something like this, I think it looks pretty cool. I'll point it out. But that's it for Bravo. We know he's looking for this kid who looks younger in this picture. I assume this is Shaft or Rob Liefeld. I'm not 100% sure. As you'll see at the end of this issue, Rob Liefeld depicts himself. When I get there, I'll describe more of that and why it's in there. And very similar to the depiction of who I assume Shaft is here, or this person is Shaft. Die Hard from the back, I've mentioned before. Almost every time you see him from the back, he basically looks like a knob, right? Like a huge dong. His head is definitely dong-shaped. And so here we have the away team. And again, I don't know who's who because the away team members start changing from earlier issues. And Die Hard all of a sudden is on the away team. So they're on this mission to go scope out Cybernet, I think it's called. I thought Cyberdata was the name of the villains in Cyberforce that were used in Youngblood Strikefile as well. That's where Super Patriot was being held. But yeah, so now it's Cybernet. I don't know exactly what's going on. These are, you know, very much based, I guess, on the Terminator movies. So Cybernet is I'm pretty sure straight out of Terminator, the name, and they call it that here too. So just literally, you know, ripping off Terminator stuff. We got a character named Dutch here. You know, Dutch was his Arnold Schwarzenegger's name in Predator. So we're still feeling the influence of like 80s action movies in a lot of the early 90s comics. They got a set of tires here set up next to the wall here. I don't know exactly what that is. Combat, you get another guy, his costume's changed all of a sudden. So again, that Rob Liefeld trope of the costumes changing from issue to issue is still going on here. So here's a sequence that's kind of fun because now we're getting it into what some of the promise of Youngblood, of some of the celebrities. So I will say, give credit to Rob Liefeld for trying some different stuff in this issue, where it's not all action and fighting. You actually get some scenes, like in this case, Bad Rock is on a show that's kind of like the David Letterman show. We still have to work in some action, though. There can never be just kind of a pedestrian scene, a lone pedestrian scene in a Liefeld comic. So we've got kind of a crazy lady who's angry at Kellerman, who's basically David Letterman, right? And of course, Bad Rock is there, so he's going to save the day. And this is just, to me, Rob Liefeld actually trying different stuff. There's more backgrounds in these shots, you know. Bad Rock kind of dressed up, not in superhero garb, but just regular kind of 90s garb. All this stuff is Rob Liefeld trying to do a more kind of down-to-earth kind of aspect to the Youngblood comic, but of course still working in some action. And originally it's weird because this guy Kellerman, right, doesn't look like David Letterman at all here. At all. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he forgot, and he decides to, or he's looked at Dark Knight Returns with David Endocrine, right, who's supposed to be David Letterman, and he's started adding the gap in the teeth here. So it looks a little bit more like Letterman. At least it evokes Letterman, whether or not it actually looks like him much. But a little late on that because, again, no consistency from here to the next page. And why all of a sudden he's got a suit on, and then all of a sudden he's either someone colored the suit wrong, or now he's just wearing a shirt. It's very odd. You know, there's a thing that's been said about Rob Liefeld. you know, they compare him to Jack Kirby in that the costume details aren't consistent from page to page, but Kirby was also doing, you know, 3-4 comics a month during that time, so he can be excused. In Rob Liefeld's case, it's just like, go back and look at your pages, dude. Make sure things are consistent. This would be probably problematic today. I hate that word, problematic. It would be a problem for some people. You know, Bad Rock basically just knocks her out with a finger here and saves the day. And now we're at the White House and reintroduced to Shaft here. Again, backgrounds and stuff. I don't know if this is Liefeld doing it, but I will congratulate him for whether it's a team effort, people helping him out doing the backgrounds. There are backgrounds in this issue, so, you know, that makes it different from most Rob Liefeld comics. And basically Graves, right, the guy who kind of runs the Youngblood program, is introducing Shaft to the new characters. So Troll, who I've talked about before, basically Wolverine and Puck mixed together with some Mike Mignola kind of glasses. I feel that's where the inspiration's coming from there. This guy here, forget his name, Nightsaber from Australia. The written accent is horrible all throughout this comic and next issues. He's basically Rob Liefeld's version of Gambit, right? He's got, you know, the jacket, he's got the bow, he absorbs energy and redirects it. Like, come on, it's literally Gambit and ripped off from Gambit. There's a new version of Die Hard here, we'll see in action later, who I think is based on some of the Iron Man kind of concepts that were going around in the mid-90s. So I feel like Liefeld took a little, where Die Hard used to kind of be the Captain America character, he now becomes kind of the Iron Man version, the Image version of Iron Man. Listen, again, the art throughout, I can't bitch about it too much. It's pretty solid overall. Like I said, it's a cleaner, more now Image style Liefeld, for lack of a better term here. I do prefer his grittier kind of X-Force style early Youngblood where he's inking himself. I feel like there's more energy to it. This tends to, like I said, flatten things down a little bit. But he's doing more setup for the stories, whereas a lot of Rob Liefeld stories we get, you know, no real preamble as to why these characters, what their motivations are and why they're fighting. Here, I mean, he's smart enough to do it. So the storyline is a little more involved than regular, you know, Youngblood comics we've been used to up to this point. Hear me, leaders of America, your time has come. No longer will the citizens of this country stand idly by while our society is eroded by the presence of the blasphemous new gene. No more shall we blindly accept the will of an uncaring government protected and run by beings who can only loosely be described as human. Today begins the battle for the future of humanity, so swears the Brotherhood of Man. So they're against, I guess, superhumans running kind of military missions for the government is what they're up against here. So Youngblood, you know, ready to go and right into action. So pretty good double page spread, still includes a few extra panels for storytelling and stuff. I will point out though, just, you know, sequentially, they all jump out of the window. Troll punches this guy here. Die Hard's flying off. Shaft is flying out of the window, coming down. You know, coming down, and he says all these things on the way down. So, like, I don't know how slowly he's falling down, but it's an odd sequence with dialogue. You know, take all the dialogue out, and maybe it seems quicker. But the fact that Shaft is, like, basically, this is what, in the time he's had to jump out the window and, what is that, the second floor or something? You know, how long would that take? A second? Well, here's what he says in a second. It's time to see what you're made of. Other characters talk. Looking good, Troll. You're not half bad for a little guy, still falling. And as for you, don't you think it's about time you crawled out of the Middle Ages? This isn't Camelot and you're not storming the castle, so welcome to reality, Buster. This is the White House and your presence here is a federal offense. So all of that dialogue within like a second. We got wannabe Gambit here as well. And Rob Liefeld at least takes the time to tell us a little bit about his origins, right? So I won't bore you. It's basically what I talked about. He can absorb aggression. So it's kind of a variation of the Gambit theme. So he doesn't quite have the Gambit helmet, but he's got the hair sticking out. He's got a cool bandana. Very 90s. And a lot of just big shots here, big splash shots of the new characters. It's basically what he's doing. But, you know, again, there's some characterization in what they're saying and talking about, so you do get to know a little bit about their personalities. And here we have, like I said, Die Hard Iron Man version, basically makes himself explode to get at this guy. And as we saw in Youngblood #1, Die Hards can send their consciousness, I guess, to a new body that's gonna be revealed here pretty soon. Always thought this shot of Troll was actually pretty cool, the down shot. I've talked about how Rob Liefeld's usually pretty good at these. The only problem I see is that I know Troll's supposed to be small, but I mean the proportions here, either, you know, he's a shorter guy, but either this guy's a giant or Troll just got even tinier here. So the drawing is pretty cool, the shot is pretty cool, the angle, but the proportions are way off. And yeah, so Die Hard, boom, pops into another costume. So this allows Rob Liefeld to just draw tons of different variations of the same costume as he likes to do anyways, but this way it gives him a story reason for that to happen. And then we've got Graves in the back here, kind of like Mr. Burns. Excellent, excellent. An admirable performance by all. Everything is working. So, you know, kind of some foreshadowing, I guess, to Graves being kind of a creepy government guy, which is pretty obvious here. And then we get another of the many team shots we get in this issue. Finally, we end with a bit of more characterization with Badrock. Looking at the magazine, you know, and are surprised to see that, unfortunately, not Badrock has gotten kind of the whole article in this extreme close-up magazine, but it's Troll. Move over, Badrock. Youngblood's most popular new member is 3'4" of dynamite and goes by the name of Troll. And Badrock says, I think I'm going to puke. So he's realized that, you know, the media is now focusing on another person, not Badrock. Bonus poster by Rob Liefeld and Danny Miki. So kind of a cool, once again, double splash vertical from Rob Liefeld. Looks pretty cool. Once again, tons of variations in the costumes. Those Jim Lee segmented hands that I was talking about have popped up again. I don't know if he used them on Die Hard in there. Like he used it on Shaft, and we got it here. On the cover, it's on his right hand. Now it's on his left hand. No consistency. You know, I think just every day, whatever mood Rob Liefeld's in is that's what he draws. However number of straps or, you know, bullets or bombs that he wants is what he throws in there. Chapel looks uncharacteristically like Chapel here. Maybe Rob Liefeld didn't ink this face as he claims he does even when other people ink him. I mean, this was definitely fun to see a bit of the groundwork, as they say, coming at you here. So showing Rob Liefeld thumbnails and pencils before it goes to the inker. So, you know, a rare shot of process back then. So definitely something I would have enjoyed if I had bought the issue originally as a kid. And once we get to the end here, we get another comic. Kind of hastily drawn, but kind of fun. I feel like this kind of evokes that early Rob Liefeld energy from X-Force. Very rough, obviously. I think he just probably used a Sharpie for this whole thing. But works pretty well. And like I said, kind of resembles the character of Shaft that we saw early on. And basically what this is Rob Liefeld, you may have heard about this, using this comic as a pretext to ask his wife to marry him, which is awesome. I don't know why the ring is the size of his hand here. That's kind of a weird one for me, but I do think it's fun to see Rob Liefeld working in this kind of, you know, really rough, just using a Sharpie and drawn very quickly. I feel like we're getting, even though it's not quite as precise and like I said, very rough, we're getting some of that early Liefeld energy in this, even though it's not within the Youngblood universe, and it's just, you know, him drawing himself, asking his wife to marry him. So, and it says to be continued happily ever after. I hope, obviously, if you know anything about Rob Liefeld today, the marriage was successful and they're still together today. So good on them. And that's how we end Youngblood number 6, guys. That's the end of this review. So if you are still watching and you are subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. If you are watching but you're not subscribed, please do so below. It only takes a second. Really helps the channel out, helps us grow, and helps get us out there to other people who are into comics like we are. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors about the channel, tell them to subscribe. And it keeps the motivation going to shoot more of these videos and reviews. So everyone out there, thank you so much for watching and have yourselves an awesome day. King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.
Like! Subscribe!